I would like to make some observations on reality and worldviews of people, cultures, and religious traditions. After researching different aspects of the Satanic Panic era, I have discovered some things about belief in human nature as it relates to the individual's worldview. I have received some objections to my skeptical observations around the Satanism scare. One of the things that keeps coming up is that you just don't want to believe this. What are they saying here? One interpretation is that I am so fragile that I recoil into denial about any information that is not pleasant. This is not true of myself or any other skeptic that I know of. I am skeptical of claims that are dubious. Be they unpleasant or pleasant to believe is completely irrelevant to the question of, is this true? Another implication is that nobody would fabricate something that is so horrible. Since it is much more pleasant to believe that X is not true, X must be true. Just go to Snopes Urban Legends homepage and look at the horror category. The category contains items of legend that most people would prefer not to be true. Many are false, some are true, some are undetermined. Would you want to believe that one of your co-workers is pissing in the communal coffee pot? In a couple of instances, that turned out to be the case. Do you want to believe that venomous snakes are being found in the ball pits at fast food restaurants, or that school children are being dosed with LSD via innocent-looking rub-on tattoos? These things don't happen. The desire to believe has nothing to do with the veracity of the claim. Starting with the question, do I want this to be true, is not going to get you any closer to the truth. One must start with the question, is this true? And then proceed to look for evidence. That is why scientific experiments employ safeguards against researcher bias, such as double-blind experiments, in which both the subject of the experiment and the researchers who collect the data are unaware of some aspects of the nature of that experiment. This is particularly important in experiments that deal with subjects that are difficult to view in a completely dispassionate manner. For example, the famous Milgram experiments on obedience to authority and the Stanford prison experiments reveal disturbing aspects of human nature that reasonable people would prefer not to believe. In these cases, one cannot help but have some degree of emotional investment of the outcome of the experiment. In the case of pure mathematics, researcher bias is not an issue. Nobody is going to say, gee, I hope the answer to this question is not 61.8 because that would be really depressing. I tried to give one of my respondents a rundown on researcher bias and double-blind experimentation, and he replied that it was all mumbo-jumbo and that it is only understandable if one is a skeptic. This is a bit of projection, I suspect, in that he is trying to equate a rational worldview with a magical supernatural worldview. A supernatural construct really doesn't make sense to people outside of that paradigm. If one does not believe in a literal Satan, one cannot begin to understand a so-called hidden spiritual war as anything but a fantasy. I have had a couple of people tell me that it would dissolve my worldview if I were to accept these claims. Well, that is correct. It would be back to the drawing board to determine how the world really works. And this is the same as wanting or not wanting to believe something. It doesn't make any difference as to whether or not these claims are true. There are those who said, I didn't want to believe it either. I was skeptical about it at first. I rejected all these claims and then blah blah. They are trying to establish the idea that they understand my skepticism. They know and comprehend all of the reasons so that they are the ones who have become enlightened. And I am the one who has just not received the real information. Okay, the basic flaw here is that just because someone changes their mind about something after receiving information does not mean that they have gone from wrong to right. One can just as easily be deceived by false information, thus causing them to go from the right ideas to the wrong ones. I also question the sincerity of those who claim to have been skeptical of the satanic influence on the real world. It reminds me of those who claim they used to be atheists. I would not say that all of these former atheists are lying. I'm sure some of them are sincere. But I hear this from maybe a third of the fundy Bible spouters. It's a standard line. It's supposed to bring a kind of credibility to their message. Some of them are obviously either lying or they do not have a basic understanding of atheism. Shock of God and Kirk Cameron are examples of obvious liars. Yes, I know I'm getting off topic here. I'll come back to Satanism. Recently, DPR Jones put up a video called, "What Does Atheism Have to Offer?" The video is about another YouTuber called Woods of Jordan who appears to have gone through a deconversion process and demonstrated behavior that suggests he is happier and more mentally stable after having rejected a self-imposed, restrictive, and oppressive Christian doctrine. I can dig it. There are many who experienced a refreshing freedom and a new life experience after rejecting controlling tenets of a religious cult that was guiding their lives to some degree. I include myself in this category. After I left the cult of Alcoholics Anonymous and abandoned those repressive aspects of the ideology, I felt as if I had a refrigerator lifted from my shoulders and an inch-thick covering of saran wrap removed from my face. And I would call myself a watered-down diet AA light compared to the hardcores. I can only imagine what the transformation would be like for those who leave something much more extreme. But that is about emotion, and it has nothing to do with reality. So anyway, I saw a few videos that were claiming that atheism is a road to happiness, and one from Rebecca Watson that was closer to my view on the subject.
Let's drop the whole atheist evangelism thing and call out bullshit questions like, what does atheism have to offer, for just what they are? Bullshit. I mean, what does knowing that the earth goes around the sun have to offer? Who cares? It just is.
She's right. Although some people may experience relief or a sense of freedom after abandoning a religious doctrine, what does atheism have to offer is a bad question. The question is, does at least one God exist outside the imagination of human beings? The answer is, for all practical purposes, no. Reality doesn't give a fuck about what would benefit me to believe or not believe. Reality is entirely independent of my personal preferences, beliefs, desires, and knowledge. Atheism does not come with power windows, a sunroof, nor a kick-ass sound system. You might ask, do I want to believe in the Christian God, for example? I might be inclined to say, sure, why not? Then I could tell that motherfucker just what a piece of shit he is before he casts me into the lake of fire. But the asshole probably has ratings and comments disabled. Anyway, desire to believe is not evidence. So what is evidence? Believers in the satanic conspiracy often point to a lack of evidence as evidence. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. True. Absence of evidence is evidence of existence. False. I really don't know why some people find that so difficult to understand, but they do. The last bit I'm going to bring up is one that pisses me off every time I see it. That would be the let other people believe what they want to. I hate that. Other people's beliefs are the result of electrochemical impulses that take place in the gray matter inside people's skulls. I have no access to it. I have no control over it. I have no choice but to let other people believe what they want to. If they believe that something that is stupid, and I point out the fact that it is stupid, this does not take away the individual's right to believe what they want to. People have the right to believe stupid things, and I have the right to tell them that it's stupid. I hope that anybody who spews that line of bullshit and hears this will now be cured of having that particular problem. Son of a bitch.